And we are back. Welcome to the first day proper of the UEFA Nations League. Yesterday's game, of course, was brought forward to enable Wales to have the full day's rest, same as their opponents for the World Cup playoff final on Sunday. Speaking of the World Cup playoffs, it was a phenomenal performance from the Ukraine last night to get a massive win away at Scotland to get them into Sunday's final. I said in my predictions video on Monday that I thought the Hampden crowd would be enough for Scotland, but the moment Ukraine scored that first goal, it was quite obvious that Ukraine were a significantly better team than Scotland on the pitch, and secondly, the crowd, as up for it as they were, just weren't going to be enough on the night. What I would say is that Scotland did well to hold it to 2-1 until the very last minute of the game. Ukraine could have easily won this by a significantly larger margin, but in the end, it is them that progress into Sunday's final, and a great result for them, a great result for the nation that is obviously in severe issues off the pitch right now. If you want to know my prediction for Sunday's final, that is going to be in Sunday's video, which will be match day 5 of this Nations League prediction series, so keep an eye out for that when I do that video on Sunday. And before we move on, just spare a thought for Andy Robertson of Liverpool and Scotland, who in the last 10 days have now missed out on the Premier League, the Champions League, and now qualification for the World Cup as well. So a real rough week for him. Right, for those of you who don't know how I operate these series, what I'm going to do now is look at my predictions from the previous day before looking ahead to today's fixtures. It's just going to be the one from the previous day, but a whole host of fixtures coming up for today from all of the different leagues of the Nations League. So drop a like if you enjoy this series, and let's get into yesterday's predictions. So, just quickly move my camera. It was just the one game, as we said. It was Poland against Wales. I went for a 2-0 win for Poland. It did end up being a 2-1 win for them. Game kind of went as I predicted. Wales played a much weakened team in regards to Sunday's final in mind. They did well to nick a goal, but overall it was a comfortable win for Poland and a fair result in the end. That means that I get a match day score of 1, which sets my tournament score off at 1. All I asked from you guys is to let me know down in the comments how you got on yesterday, and I will obviously reiterate that every single day. Always let me know how you're getting on for the day and for the tournament. And let's get into match day 2 and get a proper look at the Nations League. So, we are going to be starting with League D. I think it is D Group 2. And I said yesterday that there is only really one player that I know from the whole of League D. All 7 teams only really know one player, and it is the Estonian goalkeeper from Arsenal. And looking at the form of the two teams, I do expect said Arsenal goalkeeper to keep a clean sheet in an Estonian win. I'm going to go for 3-0. What I do like about the Nations League, and I touched on it the other day, is it's an opportunity for these lesser ranked teams to actually come up against opponents that are more around their skill level, which I don't think we see enough in international football at the moment. So it makes the games a lot closer, it makes them a lot more entertaining, and gives these smaller countries something really to fight for. But overall, certainly for this first game, I think it will end up being a comfortable win for Estonia. Moving on to League C, and specifically Group 2. We have both games from Group 2 today. It is Cyprus against Kosovo and Northern Ireland against Greece. I was tempted to go for a Kosovo win in this opener, but looking at the recent results Cyprus have had against other teams, yes, I've done my research for all of these games. I want to be as professional as possible. Cyprus has some reasonably good results recently. So with that said, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw for Cyprus and Kosovo. On paper, Kosovo are a much better team, but like I said, recent results seem to favour Cyprus, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. And the other game in that group sees Northern Ireland come up against Greece. And will we see a home nation get a better result after yesterday? Obviously 2 defeats for the home nations yesterday. I think they will. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win for Northern Ireland. Greece have been in steady decline ever since their Euros win in 2004. And if I'm honest, they have a couple of good players right now, but even their good players are over the hill, shall we say. They're getting on the bit of the older side. Northern Ireland have had a decent run recently. I think they'll be strong favourites for this one, and like I said, I'm going to go for a 3-1 Northern Ireland win there. As for the other group in League C, it is Group 4 of League C, which sees Bulgaria face North Macedonia and Georgia against Gibraltar. Now, kind of like with the Cyprus-Kosovo one, it would seem logical to go for a result that favours Bulgaria in this first one. But you have to look at what North Macedonia have done over the last year or so and say, to be honest, they're probably the favourites. Performed really well at the Euros, got a couple of shock results in the Euros, and then leading up to World Cup qualification, they knocked the European champions, Italy, out of the World Cup. Obviously, they weren't able to get the full qualification, losing to Portugal in their playoff final. But given their recent form, I think a game against Bulgaria, even though it is away from home, should be doable for them. So I am going to go for 2-1 North Macedonia in that one. As for the other game, As for the other game in League C Group 4, I think it is going to be a comfortable win for Georgia. Again, looking at the form of both teams, I think Gibraltar are probably the team a bit out of their depth here. They strike me more as a League D kind of side. I'm going to go for 4-0 to Georgia. They genuinely look a significantly better team than the Gibraltars. So, yeah, 4-0 to Georgia. Just the one game in the next group. It is Iceland up against Israel. This is now in League B, Group 2. And I'm going to go for an Israeli win here. I'm going to go for 2-1. Iceland have not been on very good form recently. Obviously, their talisman has not been available for reasons we shall not discuss on here. But the Israelis are on a relatively good run of form themselves. Again, when I was looking at the form guides, they picked up some good results in internationals recently. So I expect them to get the job done against Iceland, and I'm going to go for that 2-1 win. On to the other games in League B. These two from Group 4. We have Serbia, Norway, and Slovenia and Sweden, which I actually think is a very, very balanced group, to be honest with you. Any of these teams are capable of getting promoted or relegated. I think this is a really, really even group all round. So we'll start with Serbia and Norway, and if we're honest, it's probably the tale of two ridiculously informed strikers. Obviously, Aleksandar Mitrovic, off the back of his record-breaking league season in the Championship, up against Erling Haaland. If he plays, he doesn't have a great record of turning up for Norway, as in literally on the pitch, not just performances. But if he is available, I think this game becomes a lot closer. If he's not, Serbia take this one quite comfortably. I'm going to go off the assumption that Haaland does play. Obviously, the new Man City signing as well. I'm going to go for 3-2 to Serbia. I think this will be a good game. I think it'll be a close game, as like I said, assuming the star players are available. So 3-2 to Serbia is going to be my prediction for that one. On to the other game in that group, we have Slovenia and Sweden. And this is really a tale of two sides that, again, when I looked at the form guide, both struggled for goals but also have good defensive records. So I'm just going to tip it in Sweden's favour purely on quality of attackers. The likes of Alexander Isak should be available for tonight's game. So I'm going to go for 1-0 to Sweden. I don't see Slovenia causing Sweden too many problems defensively. And I just think Sweden have that little bit of extra quality. However, if Jan Oblak, one of the best goalkeepers in the world, does turn up, I could see this being a 0-0. But I don't like predicting 0-0s, it's just a bit boring. So 1-0 Sweden. And finally, we move on to League A, probably the reason most of you are here. And it is Group 2 of League A between Czech Republic, Switzerland, Spain and Portugal. We'll start with the lesser game, shall we say, which is Czech Republic and Switzerland. Recent form would indicate that Switzerland are the strong favourites for this one. The Czechs sort of have a good team unity without having sort of like any amazing players on their side. Switzerland are a much stronger team on paper, so I am going to go for a 2-1 win to Switzerland in that one. And finally, the main event of the evening, something I'm sure a fair few football fans are going to be watching tonight. It is Spain against Portugal, the big rivalry in Western Europe, and I think this is a really, really tough one to call. You never want to back against Spain at home because of their history in recent times, obviously the World Cup and Euros wins. But then also Portugal have had strong showings. They are the defending Nations League champions, the inaugural Nations Win champions. Whether or not Ronaldo is going to be fit will be significant. I know people like to think that Ronaldo is a little bit past it now, but he is still Portugal's main man. I think Portugal are the better team. However, I'm not confident enough to say that they are ready to go and get a win away at Spain. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw on this one, but it will not surprise me one bit if Portugal win this one. It would probably surprise me more if Spain got the win. But as I say, I think all results are possible here, so I'm just putting it down the middle in a 2-2 result there. And that will conclude today's video. As always, please let me know down in the comments what you've got for today's games. I have included in the description of this video all of the fixtures, so it's just a simple copy and paste job for you guys, and then you can just fill in the numbers as and when you please. Drop a like if you enjoy this series, subscribe if you are new around here. Share it with a friend. As I said, I want to try and get as many people involved in this series as possible, and ring that bell to get your predictions in before anyone else. I will see you first thing tomorrow morning for match day 3. Thank you very much for watching.